Welcome to the Growing Hearts podcast. I'm your host, Lucia Garcia. And in today's episode, we're talking about habits and routines that foster family life and growth in faith, which is so necessary because it feels like life is getting busier and busier. So joining me for this conversation is Elizabeth Leyden.
Thank you.
Mentor at Tangara School for Girls. And so, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Before we dive in, can you just tell us a bit more about yourself?
So I'm a mum of two. I have a little boy and a little girl at Tangara, and I'm happily married, and I was originally a lawyer, still am a lawyer, but I don't practice anymore. I now changed, and now I'm working at Tangara, and I love it. It's really good, and I guess I kind of dived into that because I'm doing a course as well on marriage, education and family through UIC. And that's my husband and I are doing that together, and it's just opened a passion for education and children and everything like that. So very different from law and legal side, but very rewarding at the same time.
Wow.
So really good.
I guess today we're talking about these habits and routines and I guess that kind of starts from our own childhood, right?
Yes.
Like our experience of
Yes.
what we value. And most often people will say it won't be like a singular event like, oh, I had the best birthday party when I was 5.
Yeah.
It's more like the everyday little stuff that kind of affects us.
Definitely.
So for you, like in your own family, what things growing up have really stayed with you?
Yeah, I guess it's more of the ordinary moments.
Yeah.
It's the everyday moments. I think I was reflecting on this question, and it was the family dinners, really.
Oh, yes.
I'm from a family of 4, so like 4 kids and 2 of my parents, and it was my brother is the eldest, and then I have 2 older sisters, and I'm the youngest.
Wow.
And there's a bit of an age gap between us all, but family dinners was like reflecting on it now, it was just so ordinary, but it was where we had the most laughs. It was where we shared, our challenges, but we came together every night, no matter what. It was always my mum and dad, my brother and sisters, and my brother's like 8 or 9 years older than me. So you'd think that we'd have different interests and things, obviously, but it was a time where we all came together and we laughed and I guess I took it for granted at the time, but it's something that I've definitely, my husband and I have taken into our own family. And my husband and I, we both work, obviously, especially in this modern age, everyone's, working hard and 2 working parents, but it's a priority for us. Like we come together, my husband's always home on time. And even if it means he comes home on time and I come home on time, and then, we leave the dishes and then we do them after we put the kids to bed, it's that then time for us to come together afterwards. And then if we have work to do, we do that later. But it was just, it's really become a really priority for us. And I think we've inherited that from our own families, but it's something that I didn't really think of when I was younger. I just kind of took it for granted, but it was in those ordinary moments of every night, family dinner, dad, mum, my brothers and sisters.
For sure.
It's
the same with my family. We were also from a family of 4.
Yeah.
But all girls.
Oh, wow.
I know. So like Little Women.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But I totally agree that the dinners for us, especially because we were 4 girls, like we needed to just talk about my poor dad. Like I think he became a very patient man.
Yeah, they do.
After this experience.
They do.
But I think just the whole like unloading of the day, but I guess also processing the day with each other was so important. But it was the same for us. Like we had to have dinner together.
Yeah.
And it was a regular thing.
Yeah.
And, even just like the whole ritual of it, like setting the table.
You have a little bit of responsibility, you kind of all helping out and you start together. And I'm not going to lie, like there were times when I got to my teenage years and I was like, I cannot be bothered to sit down for family dinner.
Yeah, for sure.
But when I sat down and I'd laugh with my sisters and my brother, I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
You're in the moment and you realize why they're so important. And
for sure.
It was, on reflection, I just didn't really think it was as big of a deal at the time, but it was the moments that when I think of what is the highlights of my family childhood, that was it. It was coming together every night. So
for sure.
It was really good.
You and your husband have similarities.
Yes.
But also differences
yes.
in your upbringings. So how do you come together and create your own unique family life?
Yeah.
Different practices and stuff.
Definitely different. My husband's one of 2. him and his sister, and obviously I'm one of four,
Yeah.
3 girls and a boy. You know, you say there's differences. Even you can tell in the family dinners. I always have a running joke with my husband when we go for dinner with his family. You know, it's beautiful, it's calm, it's peaceful. You know, it's really nice, and I'm kind of it's relaxing and it's really nice, and everyone takes turns and talking, and it's, you know, and he's like, this is normal. Whereas I'm one of 4, and plus we're all married with our husbands and wives, and it's just my husband can't even get a word in edgeways. It's just like, and it's so difficult.
Competing.
Yeah. Who's next?
Yeah.
So I think it's about creating something new together, and it's not. When I was thinking of this question, I was thinking more of, it's not so much both of us coming together being like, oh, I did it like this, so it should be done like this. It was more of prioritizing, what do we want as a family together? What do we prioritize, my husband and I, as our as what we prioritize? Not, oh, I did it like this, so this is how it should be. It was more, okay, this is how we did it, and he'd say, this is how I did it. And then so we'd turn around and say, well, what do we want together? What are our priorities? And one of them was family dinners, you know, making sure my husband always makes sure that he's home in time. And the kids love it. Like, they don't know any different. They're even, you know, setting the table and having that sense of responsibility. And I think it's more of that creation of communication together. Obviously, I'm not saying we were perfect. At the beginning, I was like, well, I didn't do it like that. And he would say, well, I didn't do it like that. But then we came to realize it doesn't matter what our traditions were separately. It's how do we want to form them together, and how do we want to raise our kids together with the new, you know, traditions and routines and things.
Exactly. So it's more of like a negotiation.
Yeah, it is.
Collaboration.
It is. It's like a collaboration of things. So and then I think actually a friend of mine said this once, because we were talking, my kids as well. Kids are very pick up on a lot of things these days, and they're like, oh, you know, so-and-so's doing it like this and doing like this. And I was asking a friend once, and she said, oh, you know, a friend of hers told her to say, you know, it's the whatever style of their family. So I've started to say to my daughter, oh, that's just the Leyden style. Like, that's just how we do it. And my daughter loves it now. She goes, oh, that's okay. That's just not our style. Like, she's come to realize that that's just who we are. We're our own family unit. And so what if we do things differently to them, or we don't do things like that? She's okay with it because that's our style, and I really like that. So that's really stuck with me, and it's definitely helped having a daughter who kind of looks around and she's like, oh, why can't I do it like this, or why can't we do it like this? So
what's the personality type of your kids?
My kids as well. So think of temperaments, actually, which is what I'm studying at the moment.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. So perfect. My son, I think he's phlegmatic.
Okay. More chill.
More chill. Laid back. My daughter's a sanguine. My husband's a choleric, and I'm melancholic.
Oh, wow.
So we're one of everything.
You have the whole spectrum.
Everything.
Of
and
temperaments.
Wow. So, and it's been so good doing this course as well, because there have been so many times where I've thought, my daughter and I are just like this because she's a sanguine. She's very social. She makes friends with everybody. Like at the park, everyone. Like she makes friends with all the little kids. Yeah. And then, you know, whereas me, I'm organised. I'm very melancholic. Everything should be done like this, that, and the other. She's just the most carefree person that's ever been going. So the two of us are like. And then my son's just laid back and, you know, just chilled.
Just living life.
Just like sometimes he'll just sit in the car and just be silent, like whatever. Whereas Victoria will comment on everything and be like, I just made friends with so-and-so at the park.
Oh, my gosh.
You know, but that's their temperaments. And I guess you kind of change as well your traditions and how you were raised as well from, you know, everyone's a different temperament, and my brothers and sisters are different, and my husband's sister's different. So it's all, you know, comes together.
Yes.
But yeah.
No, I think that's actually very important to know about your own family members.
Yes.
Like to, I guess, have that awareness of each person's way of being, that it's very different.
Yeah.
You know, like my mom is 100% sanguine. Like there's nothing else in her personality. She's just like, party, talking all the time, blah, 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 blah. And then my dad is like super melancholic and just like her opposite, basically. So growing up, we will always see these dynamics. Yeah. But then it was very nice how they like knew that about each other, and then would kind of like, I don't know, cater for that.
You do. And
my dad would be like trying to leave a party, and then he'll be like, oh, we need to leave in an hour, so start telling your mom to say her goodbyes.
Yes. And that's what you do. You come to learn about it, and you come to bring, I think, what each other's what they, what were the highlights of their childhoods as well. Like my husband loved Sunday barbecues. So now our family loves Sunday barbecues to the point where when it was really raining a few months ago and it was a Sunday, my son's only 4. So he was like, it's Sunday barbecue. So my husband puts on a raincoat and tries to light the barbecue. Didn't work, obviously.
It's the act of, we're doing it, we're trying.
He tried.
Yeah.
But it and the kids see that and they love, like even now it's the middle of winter and my husband's trying to go out there lighting the barbecue. It's freezing, but the kids love it, and those small things. So that's
the little things.
That's become like our tradition now, Sunday barbecues.
Yes, I love that.
So,
and also, I guess, we mentioned how they do change over time, like these habits and routines.
Yeah.
So at the moment, you have 2 little kids.
Yeah.
What are your top essential habits?
Yes.
For yourself and your family that kind of ground you in the busyness of life?
Yes. Well, I think life has become so busy.
Yeah,
like we
crazy.
have, everyone's like, I just need more hours in the day. But sometimes it's just the idea of stopping and reflecting. And I know that we have obviously family dinner, like that's really important. That really stops us because even, I'll be working or doing work at home or my husband will be at work, but he'll know what time is dinner. So it'll stop him in his tracks to be like, I have to be home for dinner. Like that's a priority for us. Also spending time as a family, and we begin the day with prayer and we end the day with prayer. So we do reading with the kids and then the kids know we do our Hail Marys and then we all go to bed. And I think one of the other things which we started to do, after we had a KPF with Andrew Mullins, actually.
Oh, yes.
This was really good. We did...
just for people who don't know, a KPF is a...
key parent function.
At
the school.
So I guess the idea is that all the parents are invited.
Yes.
And then there's a speaker who kind of gives the parents some...
kind of like teachings or like just kind of tips.
Yes.
Tips and
basically
things.
Supportive information, I guess.
It's really good even as parents. Like we're always learning. Like we're not perfect.
Okay.
We're definitely not perfect.
Yeah. So Andy Mullins came and...
He came and it was great. And obviously my husband and I have 2. We have a boy and a girl. And something that he said, which really stayed with us, was the importance of spending time with each child individually. And we're really lucky, like we can do that more easily. I know some families that have 12, 13 kids, it'd be so much harder.
Yeah.
But he actually gave the example of it doesn't need to be like an hour. It's just 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do is my husband takes my daughter out and goes down to the park for 10 minutes on a Sunday. And then my thing with my daughter is every night I read to her, but I read her not a picture book. Like at the moment we're reading Narnia and she sits on her bed and she listens.
Nice.
And it's like that one-on-one time that we have. I do other things like one-on-one with my son, but it's sometimes it's just 10 minutes, but we've already seen the fruits of it. Like the kids are calmer. They, come home and they tell my husband about things that are happening at school because, it's one-on-one with them. And we're hoping that we continue that because I think parents put a lot of pressure on themselves to think, I need to do like a whole day. I need to go do things. But for kids this age, it's just time.
Yeah.
And we've realised that even like going to Andy Mullins' thing, we were like, oh, wow, really, it's just time. Like it's just going for a walk for 10 minutes for them is like the best thing in their day. But that's like when you think about it, when we were kids as well, there was no like iPads and things. It was just going to the park with your friends or playing backyard cricket. We do that as well. That's a huge thing.
That's fun.
It's really good. We do the backyard cricket because we have to make sure that my son's facing a certain way so that the ball doesn't fling onto the road. So, but they love it. They love doing outdoor things. Very, those type of things really slow us down. No technology, just one-on-one. It's just time. It's something
I think even like things that are around the house that you do as an activity together. Like, even like chores together is kind of a thing. Like, how to dry the dishes properly with dad.
It is.
Or, like little things like that, like my mom teaching me how to iron.
Yes.
Like this is how you do the collars.
It's true.
But that's also one-on-one time. But then you also feel like, oh, I'm learning from my parent. So there's also that element of it as well.
It's really good. And I think like on that topic, one of the things that my husband and I really wanted to instill in our kids was the idea of outward looking instead of inward, service to others, and like even the small things of just service to the family. Like, my son's only 4 or 5, but he puts little placemats on the table because he knows to do that. Like that's helping mummy, and we kind of want them to look like that to the rest of the world, in all aspects. My daughter, she was at the playground the other week and she was like, oh, that little girl had no one to play with. But so she went up and spoke to her and started playing with her. It's that idea of kind of service to others and considering others. Because I think, as you said, we live in a world where everyone's so just in their phones and on their own life and in their own life. What do I have to do rather than what can I do for others or how can I help? Our neighbours, we've got elderly neighbours that live all around us. And at Christmas and Easter or all these different events, the kids love going over there and giving them little chocolates and things. Or even at the moment now, every time they see the neighbours, they yell out to them. They're like, hello, like they've got this confidence. But,
cute.
In my mind, I'm sometimes like, I've got to rush inside and make dinner. But then they slow me down to be like, actually, I should say hello to the neighbours and talk to them and ask them how their day is, Yeah.
So no, it's amazing how kids really, really like pick up on these things.
Everything.
But also they adopt things pretty quickly.
Really quickly.
Once you trust them with something, like they're like, it actually gives them the confidence to try.
Yes.
Like,
and they kind of like having that sense of responsibility, like little things. Like sometimes my kids even fight over who's going to help who with the dinner, and I have to kind of think, okay, mummy, like it's enough now. Now mummy has to do the rest.
Everybody stop. I want to chop the onions.
Yeah. I think it's that idea as well. It's kind of that stops people in their tracks as well because, as you said, people you become so just centered on your own and what you need to do yourself rather than what can you help around the house and help others.
So when it comes that's like the everyday stuff, which is awesome. And when it comes to our own faith, I guess this is another element of how do we pass this on, and I guess it is easy to focus on the big moments like, baptism, Holy Communion, Sunday Mass, like the classic kind of obvious moments you think of when you come to live your faith.
Yes.
But as we were just talking about, the daily little stuff is very important.
Yes.
I mean, you mentioned starting the day with prayer. And so like, what have you found to be helpful?
I think when I was thinking about this, I was reflecting a lot. And I think from a young age for our children, my husband and I have made it just very natural. Like it's just become a part of our everyday life. Like obviously we pray together before bed, but we talk very naturally about God as if, he's our father. He's just a part of our everyday life. It's not just a Sunday thing. We're very blessed that we live near a church, which is very family friendly in the event that it has this big outdoor kind of not play area, but a big grass area. Ever since I can remember, like even when I was pregnant with Patrick, I used to take Victoria up there during, COVID and, you weren't allowed to see anyone, but we would go up there and I would pray and she would see me do that. And I wouldn't, get her to, and even now we go after school, I don't get them to sit down with me and pray, but I keep the door open on the side of the chapel, the side of the church, and they're playing in the garden. And sometimes she says, oh, can I pick a rose for Mary or things like it's just become really natural. They play in the garden while I'm praying and it's just a part of our ordinary life. We go down to the park and we say it's on the way, like the church is on the way. So we say, we're going to just pop in and see Jesus for 2 minutes. And they go, okay. And they run in the church and then they go and light all the candles, the classic, lighting.
And you're like, I had to put a donation.
Yes.
And blah, blah.
But they love it. And I even said to my husband, I'd love to have like a video of watching my son do that from when he was little to, when he's like, just because there's no one around. He just like runs down the aisle and then goes and like it's just
little montage.
Yeah, it's just become natural. It's like their second home. They don't, it's not a place where we sit down and we force them saying, this is mummy and daddy praying now.
Yeah.
They sometimes have moments like I see Patrick and he goes up and he's, there's no one around and it's our space of prayer and it's a time with God. And I guess we've made it a part of our natural, ordinary life rather than, okay, it's Sunday, now it's a day of prayer. It's part of every day. It's every aspect of our life. So the kids just know it as natural. Sometimes even I'll be driving past a church in Victoria, we'll say, oh, can we stop in? Like it's only because they have this beautiful garden and, you know, there's even a man there who does the gardening. And so sometimes on a Sunday, if I'm going to pray, my son will help the gardener be doing the roses and things. It's just, it's home for them, you know, and that's what I always wanted for them. And my husband, we wanted it to be a place where when they're older, I hope that they can go if they ever feel like they can't talk to anyone and they know God's there to listen to. So
yeah, I think it's important to be aware of their experience of those spaces.
Yes.
You know, because I guess sometimes like it can be tempting for parents to just like want to control, like you have to be like super well behaved and you know, sit down and your hands like this, and you know, and at the same time you know, that kind of puts that gives like a different experience for them, because developmentally at that age, for example, they're just not capable of like, sitting still. And that's just
not
the
at
reality.
All. They just can't.
From your own experience when you were going through your teenage years, because I guess we were talking more about, you know, younger kids, but when it gets to that older adolescent phase,
teenage years,
it can get a little bit more tricky, I guess. And because, you know, they're trying to explore their own freedom and you know, if they've lived their faith, like, is it really mine? They have all those questions. So when you were a teen, were there any habits that kind of helped you, or that your parents kind of instilled in you that helped you to continue your faith? And
I think, like, as a teenager, you know, I was just like any other teenager and 20-year-old, you know.
Let's go.
I was like, you know, I'm not going to go to mass. But then there was always this part of me that wanted to go to mass on a Sunday, even in my like rebellious years. I was like, there was something, and obviously it was God. And my mum would say, oh, I'm going to mass, Liz, you can join me if you want. And, you know, the rebellious me would be like, no, I've got, you know, other things to do. But then
I'm busy.
Yeah. But then I would go because it would make me feel good. And there were so many little things. Like, I always remember when I was doing my law exams, I was so stressed out for this one last exam. It was like the final exam of, you know, graduating. Otherwise I would have had to do another semester. And I remember thinking at the time, there's no way I can pass this. I don't even understand the subject. and I remember my mum just saying, you know, offer it to God and ask him to help you with it. And after all the study I did, I remember praying so hard. And, you know, it was back then in my 20s, it was more like I was praying when I wanted something. But on reflection, that kind of made me realize he was there for me throughout everything, even in the times when I went away. Like, the idea of the prodigal son was really, that story really hits home for me because I was like that.
Yes. I think all of us at some point in our lives, we're all that guy. But yes.
So it's that idea of, I think my mum was very influential in just kind of just letting me lead my own race and just kind of being that silent, I'm going to go to mass, you know, you can come if you want. And I would be like, okay, yeah, I'll come. Like, you know, and it was going to the mass every Sunday and saying my prayers in the times that was challenging, and life can be challenging and things, and the hurdles that I had, you know, knowing that I wasn't alone. It was subconsciously I knew he was always there. And even when my husband and I first got married, it was a tradition of ours. We started going to mass together, like on Sundays. It was Sunday night, you know, when all the younger people go.
The cool mass.
The cooler mass. we would kind of go in there, and then and you know, it was a tradition for us. We started together, and I don't even know. I think it just kind of happened. We were like, yeah, let's start going to mass together, and and that shaped the rest of our journey.
It's amazing. Yes. But yeah, I think the whole like respecting the pace is really important. Especially, knowing, for example, like, you know, your kids at a young age, they need certain things. And then when your kids get older, they also need certain things. And that does change. So it's like, the constant, I guess, like awareness of that and having to cater for that is important.
Yeah. And I think also, I remember actually a thing I was going to say was, it's very much with kids, and I found this with my own experience. You can tell a child to do something, but if I go and do something else, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't say one thing and do another. So my prayer and for the future is also that the kids see that mummy and daddy are praying, and, you know, sometimes things can be hard for mummy and daddy, and that's when we go to church, and then they'll think back and be like, well, that mummy and daddy acted like their actions spoke 1,000 words. So I think for kids, and that's what it was for me, seeing my mum go to church and my family, and, then that's evolved into my son is the first grandson, and initially it was just the four of us going to church, but then I invited my dad to come. So then I hope that my son, and he does come now, and I hope that my son sees there's two male influential people in his life.
Are both there.
Yeah, both there. And that's important. Sunday is important for him. And I think that speaks volumes for kids, especially for parents. You can't turn around and say, hey, faith is really important, really, really important.
What it is.
You should go to church, but I'm going to go to the gym on Sunday morning. It's just, you have to
have some consistency.
Exactly. Consistency. And you have to act the way that you say.
That's it.
So that was a huge thing for me growing up, and that's what my husband and I have brought into our own family.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. When it comes to building those routines, sometimes, especially around faith, right?
Yes.
Sometimes it does fall more heavily on one parent.
Yes.
And it's kind of hard to keep the balance. So how do you kind of be united and intentional, you and your husband, about supporting the kids, but it's not just mommy or daddy
not just
telling you like you have to be quiet in church or you have to pray now.
I think it's for us, like, we don't think, like, parents don't need to be perfect, but I think they need to be in the same direction and be on the same path. And for us, I think it's important, like, to focus first initially to be able to be on that same path. You got to focus on your marriage. You got to take time for your marriage. You got to take time for each other. Like, before the kids, it was just the two of us. And sometimes I think, you hear of marriages where you have so many kids or you have so many, sports and things, the marriage kind of gets put on the back burner, but we still go on dates. We still, meet up for lunch, and we've put marriage as our priority so that the kids can see that mummy and daddy are on the same page. So then when we talk to them together, it's that consistency of, mummy and daddy both believe this, and faith is, both of us are, it's important for both of us. And they've been able to see that because the fruits of our marriage and spending time together. A friend of mine told me this story once as well, because I was talking to her and I said, life is so busy. How do you do it? Blah, blah. And she said, sometimes she has like a little agenda that she sits down with her husband about, once every fortnight, and they talk about what are the challenges that they've had in the last few weeks?
Cool.
What are the really funny things that have happened with the kids? And just that kind of stop time just together when the kids are asleep. As I said, you don't need to be like going out on some fancy dinner or something. My husband and I have started making hot chocolates, and at night time we do that. And once the kids have gone to bed, we talk about, things that are happening with work or with the kids, or it's just that time to reconnect. And I think once you do that, once you focus on the marriage and you focus on both of you being on the same path, I think the kids then see, oh, okay, mummy and daddy are united. They're united on their beliefs and they're united on what's important. And I think that then flows, the fruits of it trickles down. And when kids see that love and support between a mummy and daddy, then everything else will hopefully be consistent.
Yeah, because it's like that forms such a security, because they're like, okay, in terms of the most fundamental things in my life, that's kind of like they're all on the same page.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I remember, as you were talking about that, my parents going on their like dates, parent dates.
Yes.
And they always made it a thing. And they were like, oh, mommy, what are you going to wear? And then they're like, where are you going to go? And they're like, can we come? And then they're like, no, this is just for us.
Like, it's our
you
time.
Guys stay home. Anyway, and but you can, I mean, that obviously that example was like really important for us, because it's like, you see how they value each other and how important it is to put their time aside for that, which means also for us, like as the kids who were like, oh, we're the most important people in the world. Well, actually they are to each other. Yeah. And that was, important lesson for all of us to know.
And then everything that they said, like my husband and I both had that, both of our parents, sets of parents, his parents and my parents, been happily married for like 40 odd years. And it was something that we really connected with. And then we were like, this is what we want to take into our marriage. We want our kids to see that marriage, the love between us is so strong, and we fall in love with each other again and again, over and over. And that's what's important in a marriage, because in this modern day, as we keep saying, everything just gets so busy. Sometimes couples go months without going on a date with each other. And it's like, you got to remember to always fall in love with each other. Sometimes I randomly send old from when my husband and I first started dating text messages. I'm like, oh, look at this. Like, just really. And he turns around and he says, oh, we'll go on another date. Like, it's time for us to go on another date. Not saying that we're perfect. We haven't always been like this, my husband and I, we've been both on our own journey, but when we've come together and gotten married, it's changed us.
Yes. And also, it's not to say also that conflict isn't a thing.
No.
That's like a daily reality, maybe.
Yes, it's completely. And the kids see that. And I think it's important as well for kids to see,
I think it is important for them to see that.
And sometimes then, funnily enough, my daughter will say to me, I'll get angry at something or whatever. And then I'll look at her and I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, mummy lost her temper. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah. And she goes, that's okay. And then she'll say something like, you can go to confession. She knows, but they know this. It's just become a part of my son thinks confession is where God is talking. Like, at Tangara, he's popped in the door and he's God. Are you here? And then once or twice he's heard a voice, but he can't see anything.
It's just the priest in the ether.
Hasn't quite put two and two together. Right, it's a priest on the other side of the grill. But I'm happy for him to go with that. But I think it's important that parents know as well. Failing is just
and
part of life.
Even like the cycle of forgiveness, like mistakes and forgiveness and mercy, like even seeing that is really important. I know some parents are like, we can only have arguments behind closed doors. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes that's not a reality. Like, life is messy, things happen, but also that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you see, you have to at least help your child to see the forgiveness that comes after a conflict. That's really important.
Mommy and daddy might just have a disagreement about something. Like, we're never shouting or anything, but it's just, oh, mommy and daddy disagreed, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, mommy was wrong. We were meant to go here instead of here. Blah blah blah. Like, it's just, kids see that and they see it's a part of life. Yeah. It's normal.
Yeah. It's not a big deal. To say sorry is also not a big deal.
Yeah. I remember one time a priest told me when I was, talking to him about arguments and things with your spouse, and the priest said, try from now on, be the first to say sorry. Ooh. Try, do it. And it was something so tough, in my head. I was like this. And now ever since then, I'm like, it's actually really difficult to do.
It's hard.
But I want to try and do it now. So, and when the kids see that as well, hopefully then that'll transpire to their own friendships and their own relationships in the future.
Exactly.
So,
and the question of rest is really important for families, because, we keep talking about nowadays, not that nowadays are like so bad, but it is true that there is a bit of an individual kind of approach to rest. Yes. Like me with my little tablet. Yes. In my room and in my bed, and like I'm resting.
Me time.
Yeah, me time. I'm resting with my phone or whatever. But like to rest though as a family is also really important. Because to know that to relax with others is important part, because we're all social beings, and that's a really important part of our development as a human person. Yes. And so what do you do with your kids just to relax and have fun?
Yes. I think we do, as I said, backyard cricket. We do a lot of family time. Sunday is like our family time. We do family movie night as well, sometimes on like the Friday when the kids love it. One of the things that we do as well, my husband's really good at this actually, like being a tourist in your own city. So we've done so many little things, like we went down to Lavender Bay and then caught the ferry. Like for us, it's like, whatever, that's a part of life. I used to work in the city. My husband used to work in the city. It was like, oh, I've got to get the ferry or get the bus. But to them, it's like the most exciting thing. We took their scooters and they went on the ferry, and then we went across to the rocks, and there was the markets on, and it's just seeing the city of Sydney, of how beautiful it is, with the bridge. And like, as I said, to us, it's, we're adults. Normal. It's normal. Like, we go into the city, whatever, it's not where I want to be. But for them, they see all these new people and new places they've never been, and they've and catching a bus. Like, it's just amazing for them, and they love it. And it's relaxing because we're together as a family, and you know, it's not every weekend,
Yeah.
and it's not spending large amounts of money. It's just literally being a tourist, looking at different walking trails to go on, and just kind of experiencing the outdoors. That's a big one that we do, and we go for walks. My kids at the moment love bike riding. So my husband has just taught them how to ride a bike.
Oh, wow. This is an epic time.
So yeah, it's one of those like moments because I think these days as well, I don't think many people really do the whole teaching your kid to ride a bike because they've got scooters and everything else. But remember when we were kids?
It's like a very pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Finally, like,
you know how to do it, and then like my daughter loves with the tassels on the side of the bike, and you know, obviously it's not every time because it's a bit, for us it's like we've got to chuck them in the car. It's like a big thing. But seeing the kids so happy and having for us like this time of rest but together, like we're still together, and just being appreciative of the city that we live in, that's a huge thing for us. Just my husband will come up with the most random things. He'll be like, let's get a bus from, you know, we'll go to Mass in the morning at Mary MacKillop and then we'll catch a bus over into the city, and the kids will be like, they'll think it's like the best thing. And I'm like, I used to work at Barangaroo.
I'm tired of the city.
But they love it. And when I'm actually in the moment, when you're going to the city with the kids, you're looking at the world in their eyes, and it's amazing. It's like the best thing ever, and it's the smallest things. Like they see Luna Park and their eyes light up, and they're like, wow, look at that ride. And before, you just be on your phone, like you said. Most people on the journey to work is just you're on your phone, you don't pay attention. But when we go with the kids to do these things, it's like seeing the world through their eyes, which was what life was like when we were kids.
Yep. It's like that sense of awe, you know, that kids naturally have. But we kind of lose, but we should keep.
I know, we want to keep, and they help us. They're so excited about doing these things, and it helps us to relax and unwind because we're not on our phones, and, you know, my husband and I are there, and we're just living in the moment. Like my son, he's 4 and he loves catching the bus. Like one time we went to Mossman and we parked down one end and then caught the bus to go back up the other end. Like he just loved it. It was like the best thing ever.
So thrilling to be on a bus.
And he could press the buttons to tell it to stop.
I mean, cheap thrills for these students, really. No, it's cool. But I think that element of fun is so important. Okay, just for our last question, because I feel like we can go on and on.
Yes.
But so for parents who, you know, are kind of, I guess, struggling to start habits, I think starting habits are really the best. I mean, the hardest part is really starting a habit, right? And getting a momentum going. So what advice can you give to parents who are trying to integrate something new into their family life?
Yeah, I think on this one, it would be to start small, but be consistent. So don't try and make some dramatic change. And for example, with the faith, don't try and say, okay, we're going to start praying the whole rosary together as a family, you know, all of it. You know, it's something, instead choose one habit, make it really simple, attach it to something that you're already doing, be patient and don't expect perfection. Just kind of keep it as a consistent with kids. It's just, for us, it was just something small, you know, praying before meals. We're very blessed that the kids do it at school. So we were already doing it before, but then they do it at school, and then it just comes to, they don't even start eating until we pray together. So it's just, but it's consistent. It's just that, you know, really small things. And now my daughter's at the age where she says, she knows that mummy and daddy pray the rosary together at night after we put the kids to bed. But sometimes she'll say, can I pray a decade with you? And it's like, okay, sure. But you don't have to do it. If you want to go to bed, you can go to bed. And she goes, I'll just pray a decade. Like, it's just that consistency, the small things. But if she doesn't do it with us, we're not turning around saying, oh, you got to stay up with us. It's just these really small ideas. And I think once you integrate them into what you're already doing, like she already knows that we pray it together at night. Once she goes to bed, she has the choice to join us if she wants to, you know, and she's at that age where she's kind of like, yeah, actually, I want to join you with one for one decade type of thing.
Yes, and on like habits that are more to do with faith, something that I find helps a lot is when my parents would kind of add an intention to it. That always helps, because it's like, for example, okay, we're in the car, and like, oh, we can do a decade, the rosary in the car. If you guys want to join, that's great. And also, we're going to do it for this intention, like, this person who was sick, or this difficult situation at work,
Yeah.
or, and in that way there was kind of an element of it that was like, I am, learning my faith for myself, but also there's another dimension.
Yes. Yes.
That, this is also for others, like the service kind of
And
oriented mindset.
I think that's really important as well. As you said, kids absorb things so much.
Yeah.
Like we do that with, sometimes my husband or I will say, and this particular prayer tonight, before our meal is intended for so-and-so. And the kids will be like, oh, why, what happened? And then we explain it to them. And I think kids should know sometimes there's challenges in life,
Of course,
not everybody has, the blessings and the life that you might have, or we might face challenges in life, but that's okay. We're not alone in it. And we can pray for those people. And my daughter will, weeks later, she'll be like, oh, how is so-and-so in the car? And I'll think, when did I tell you that? and then I'll remember it's because of the intention that we had. And it's that idea of thinking of others. I want them to always remember that, because as we've been saying, in this world, we're so just focused on our own lives rather than, at the moment we've got an elderly neighbour and he's transitioning to a home. And so we say at the moment, and we pray especially for him. And then the kids will say, oh, I haven't seen him. Is he back yet? Like it's that idea of them
bit more aware of the people around them.
And they're more aware of what's happening and the life that, how blessed that their life is maybe compared to others, and that type of thing. So be grateful for every day.
Yeah.
So we try and do that with the kids. But as I said, they absorb everything.
Yes.
Everything. And I'm sure you would had when you were a kid, you then ask your parents about that person, how they're going, and then that they've then been thinking of them. So
yeah, and I think actually habits are easy for kids. Like in the beginning it might be tricky, but then after a while, like they do expect things. Like they're like, oh, we started doing this. When are we doing it?
Yes. When are we doing it?
What's happening? They
love routine.
Yeah.
Like even kids, my daughter's in kindy, they have like on there what they're doing for the day. And so even on the weekend, she goes, so what are we doing? And my husband and I haven't planned it out. But they know, they love certain things.
Yeah.
They even just that idea of, my husband and I go up to church on the weekends and we duck in. The kids go, oh, when are we going to go see Jesus? Like, when's our visit? Like, what are we going to do? When are we doing that? That's a constant for them, and that's become natural. It's a part of their life, which has naturally just happened ever since they were little.
Exactly.
In their minds, they're like, oh, it's when I get to go play in the garden and then, do this and that.
Yeah.
They assign it to happy moments and happy times.
No, it's so good.
Yeah, hopefully when they're a teenager, if they go away, then they can come back and remember.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of like the point of all this, like the habits and the routines, like they become so innate and natural, as you were saying, that over time, they become your fallback.
Yes.
In a way. So no matter what happens, you kind of have that foundation of like, oh, I know what it was like to live a certain way.
Yeah. I know what it felt like. It felt good.
Yeah.
And we're drawn to goodness.
Like I was happy doing that.
Yeah. And that's what it was for me. Like when I was growing up, I was like, I was happy when I was going to church. I might be struggling in this, but when I left, I felt good. And I want that feeling. We're all searching for happiness, but we're all drawn to goodness.
Exactly.
So, kids can remember that.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we have time for. Yeah. Okay. Amazing.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been
Thank you
great.
so much.